Some transformations begin with a miracle. Others begin with a meal. For Elliott Shackney, it began with a rescue named Nellie, a single pot of bone broth, and a refusal to accept that nature had stopped being enough. What started as one dog's recovery turned into Jaffee's bone broth, a movement built on love, science, and stubborn integrity. Today, we're unpacking the story behind it all, the healing, the hustle, and the heart that's changing what pet nutrition really means. Welcome to Pure Pawsitivity. I'm Bobby. We have my wife, Eden.
Hello.
We have Opal. We have Rosa. And the star of the show, Carlito. Yes, sir. Everybody loves to say hello. Right on, man. Well, we met Elliott out at Super Zoo. We had a really awesome talk. Super awesome to have you on the show today. So how have you and Jaffee been, Elliott?
We have been great. Yeah, it's great to see you guys again. Had a great chat at Super Zoo. Jaffee's doing wonderful. As our audience and followers may know, she had a second knee surgery earlier this year and is now fully recovered, 100% back to running, jumping, playing, doing all that stuff.
Yes.
And otherwise, things are good.
That's awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. So when we were talking like very minusculely at the show there, I wish that we could talk like all day because we have so much in common. You were talking a little bit about your past, which is that you spent like 15 years in integrative health for humans. So tell me a little bit about your background there.
Yeah, and we did have a great chat because as we've talked more since then, our missions and our beliefs and values and stuff and our products really align really well. So just want to say that I'm really glad that we've connected here. And so yeah, our story does go back, we have to go back about 15 years or so when I had started my integrative health and nutrition practice for humans, focusing on things from kind of an ancestral framework and what are we really wired for in terms of the best health and living conditions. And then really with a focus on gut health and kind of overall holistic metabolism. Then, as you mentioned, Nellie came around in my life, and when I went to the shelter to go see her and adopt her, she was just in really bad shape. She was older, she was missing a lot of fur, her skin was all inflamed, and I just kind of fell in love with her, and I also knew that I could fix her using what I had been doing with my human clients for so long. And so when I brought her home, the big focus was on gut health. Bone broth was a big part of that. And when I saw her make such a dramatic transformation in the pictures of her on our website, that really opened my eyes to the human to pet crossover with all those methods and how almost identical they are. And so I started using more and more of those with her and providing assistance to other dogs. And then little by little, it turned into more of a mission to help the dogs, and the humans kind of got pushed off to the side. And so when Nellie passed and Jaffee came along, we were kind of already in full swing of using these methods with dogs, and I decided to go all in on creating this company based around holistic health and wellness and nutrition. And again, bone broth was such a pillar of that's what I started with. And really started with bringing samples to the dog park and giving it to the friends there. As it gained traction and popularity, it kind of grew and grew until we're where we are today. So named after Jaffee, but it did kind of start in spirit with Nellie, but it's here to help dogs everywhere.
That's great. I love that story. I mean, especially like the selling at the dog park. I mean, I was reading that you were like making batches in your own kitchen in the early days, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it started in my kitchen with one cooker and making it, because I was making it for myself forever, making it for the dogs. And so that's where it started from, with whatever kind of random packaging I decided to use. And the packaging iterations, label iterations have gone through about 3 or 4 of those. And it then went from 1 cooker to 2 to 3 to 4, and from one extra freezer to 2 to 3 to 4 to 7. And so now I'm in my warehouse right now where we make everything and pack everything, knocking on the door of getting the manufacturing even outsourced for us, so we can really scale up
Good for
production.
you, man.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. I mean, that's just like a truly like grassroots, from the ground up type of story that like everybody loves to hear. And like one of my favorite things, or one of the most engaging things about your brand, is that like behind the scenes approach that like you kind of like show people exactly what you're doing back there, even the bloopers and all that. So the shipping, I love your video where you're showing the cutting of the foam in real time.
We try to be as transparent as possible. We have nothing to hide, and because one of our pillars that I wanted to build a company around was the highest quality ingredients and sourcing, because that's where I came from, my background with the human health side of things. And yeah, it's as you guys know, running and growing a small business is no easy feat, and there's the mundane, like literally hand cutting foam so I can line my boxes so I can ship this stuff frozen, to things, all kinds of things going wrong. There's always something.
That's really cool, man.
I know when we were unboxing it, I was like, these are hand cut. I need to put these nicely over here. It's
Seriously.
not like just styrofoam.
So what is it that makes like transparency like such an important part of your business? Why is it so important to you?
Yeah, great question. We, again, as we know in this side of the industry, the more natural, holistic side, that ingredient sourcing is huge, and it plays a role in the effectiveness of a product, the health ramifications on the pet. And so when, I used to order things directly from farms for myself, meat and raw dairy and that kind of stuff. And so I just went back to those same sources, that the farms that I was already ordering from, and that's where I was getting the bones. And so the nutrient profile of even the bones, but especially any of the meat that's still left on the bones, or the marrow that's inside the bones, everything about that animal, the nutrient profile is going to be just different. Degrees more nutritious, degrees healthier, degrees more effective to improve the pet's health when they consume the products from it. And so we don't want to settle, and we want everyone to know what's in there, and we have nothing to hide. And also the fact that, especially with our bone broth, it's limited. It's so limited ingredient. It's single ingredient, and that's also something that we're proud of. That there's no added ingredients, fillers, additives in any of our products. And so usually the fewer things, the better.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I love that you're able to talk about it so eloquently there, to just kind of put it into plain terms. Like it's a single ingredient. It has to stand out above the others, and this is why, and that's really important. So I love that you guys have that value. For someone who's like never like even done any bone broth at all, like new to bone broth, how would you describe the health benefits for humans and dogs?
Yeah, I love this, because there might be some people listening that are new to bone broth. I'm sure people have at least heard of it by now. And the one thing that I like to highlight for them is the main thing that we and our pets are getting from bone broth is collagen. And that fills a huge nutrient gap that's in most foods. There is some collagen in foods. You're getting a little bit in the muscle meat. If the dog is on a fresh or raw diet, they're probably getting a little bit more as well. But to really maintain optimal levels of collagen, it's usually best to add some in. And so the bone broth is providing that and filling that nutrient gap. And the reason why collagen is so important is because it is the main building block of so many things in our pet's body. Everything from cartilage to connective tissue to bones to the fascia around our muscles, and it's the scaffolding of our body. It's in our gut. So collagen is the most abundant protein in our body, in our pet's body, and every day they are breaking down, rebuilding, and we want to make sure we're providing optimal levels of that building block, so that when they rebuild, it's there for them to stay healthy and stay resilient. Because over time, a little bit less that they get down the road, you're going to start to see that wear and tear happen faster and faster and faster. We call that aging. But if we can slow down that process by providing not just okay amounts, but optimal amounts, then we're going to see them be more resilient, so they will age slower. We'll see them be able to recover from injuries a lot faster, prevent injuries, and just kind of live that optimal life and health that we oftentimes don't see. We kind of get accustomed to just surviving rather than thriving. And so the long story short, it provides that nutrient that they're getting oftentimes very little of just in their food alone.
I love that. And you're right, though, because it's like we have aging, right? There's so many things that are umbrellaed under aging, and we're getting conditioned to accept that, oh, it's just happening because he's aging. They're just, getting older, and, a dog is senior by 7 years old. And things like bone broth, when you get that collagen, it's going to really, really help with the bones and the joints, the microbiome. Like you said, everything. It's the building blocks. So that's huge when it comes to what you guys offer. So that's just amazing. And there's just the quality. I mean, I'm going to share it right now because this is this is the wild elk one. Yeah, this is the product right here. This is the bone broth. I mean, you guys have other products too. I mean, that are amazing. We'll talk about here in a moment. But I just wanted to share because you guys put edible bones in the bottom here. Edible, which is obviously so unique because all bones, for the most part, I mean, that we're using are edible for dogs and cats. But these ones are edible for a different reason. Can you explain why that is?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And I don't know if you can hear that it's really raining here, so I don't know if that's coming through on the recording. But
that's okay if it is. I love that. We're in the desert, so
yeah. Oh, you're missing the rain. So the quick tangent on the bones, which might be too boring for some of your listeners, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Is the story with the bones started with my own quest for calcium. So when I was making bone broth for myself, and at the time I was not eating much dairy, I was looking for good quality bioavailable sources of calcium. And so when I was making bone broth and I realized I could kind of nibble off the ends of some of the chicken bones that I was making in the broth, I thought, well, how can I make all of the entire bone even softer so that I can actually eat it myself? And so eventually that turned into the process that we use now, which cooks the bones down so soft that you can literally cut it with a butter knife. There's videos of that on our Instagram page. And so I wanted to be able to put those bones back in the broth, yes, as a novelty, but also because it's providing extra calcium and minerals and marrow that's still in there and still viable and is completely edible. As most of us in the natural health world know that you shouldn't give a cooked bone because it could either splinter or chip a tooth or something. And certainly raw, meaty bones are great to chew on. While these are cooked, they are extremely soft and will kind of crumble up in your fingers. So we put them back in, again, as a little treat and some extra calcium, minerals, collagen, and flavor for the dogs to enjoy.
That's so awesome, man. And I mean, this is the elk, which is already like super it's wild, right? I mean, there's not very many elk products out there. And you also offer lamb and bison and what is the other one? Wild boar. These are just really awesome, like just a really cool range of proteins, and just wanted to point that out too. So well done on that.
Yeah, thanks. We started with the basics, beef and chicken. That's what I was getting from the farm for me. And then when I realized that the farm also had bison, I was like, oh, well, let's make some bison broth. And then as our business kind of progressed and realized the avenue that I want to take and kind of carve out for us, which is to be a little more novel than what's already out there. I didn't want to just put out another product that already exists. I wanted to make sure that we were providing something extra to the industry and to the dogs. And we know that protein rotation, eating different for the dogs, eating different animals for us too, is an important aspect of their health and wellness and diet, that they can get different spectrums of amino acids and different nutrients from different animals. It just made sense to include other animals that they might not be getting access to. And then and especially with our goal of just providing as the healthiest possible product for them, we're shifting away from the standard ones, beef and chicken, fine, especially coming from high quality farms. But we're now going to be focusing, and I didn't even mention this to you, I think, earlier, but we're eventually only going to offer those novel proteins. So we'll have the bison, the elk, and we have the lamb and the wild boar, and those will be our 4 main ones, so that all of our line are hypoallergenic novel proteins.
That's really cool, man. Well, you guys heard it here first,
Yeah.
Breaking news. That's
Yep,
awesome,
this is
man.
pure Pawsitivity
That's a really cool
exclusive.
thing that you guys are doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool,
That's
man.
awesome.
And another thing that we also kind of share in common is not waste. Like we don't waste anything. We try to use everything. And so I guess that's in the spirit of that. That's kind of like how your treats or your topper kind of came about, right? The boost toppers. You're just like trying to not waste anything. And so boom, you guys had an awesome idea. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, the zero waste. And it's funny enough you mentioned that, because that was also kind of where the bones came out of as well. Because when I would make it for myself, and I would like nibble on the ends of the chicken bones, as I kind of continued playing with the recipe, I realized I could eat more and more of the bones. And then it was kind of a challenge to myself. How can I eat every single thing that's in this pot right now? And that, again, turned into the recipe that we have now. So in an effort to be as zero waste as possible, we're using the bones, and we are taking all that meat and marrow that is left from the batches. When we separate the broth from that, we freeze dry that and crush it up and put it in our shaker toppers. So that's our boost toppers. We have our roost boost, which is the chicken, and then our big game boost, which is the mix of the beef, elk, and bison. So we save all that and create a topper out of it, which, I mean, that is our picky eater special. The dogs and cats go crazy for that.
Yeah. Yep.
They do.
That's
I can
what
tell
I
you. We got 6 pets in the house right now, 2 cats and 4 dogs, and they all
like
went
it.
wild for everything that you guys have to offer. So
Yeah.
thank you again for sending that package our way.
Sure. And then another, so the only thing that was left that we didn't have a use for was the fat. So, marrow is predominantly fat, and then other little bits of fat that are still in the meat or on the bone. That separates, and we've been pulling that off, and we haven't had anything to use that for yet. We're working with a holistic vet that wants to use that fat and render it and create a new product, like a salve for dogs and cats. So eventually we should have use for every part of the bone and the broth that we make.
That's awesome.
Great.
What is it? Tail to toe, tail to head? I don't know.
Snout to tail? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, man. You have so many little cool products. Your bone, the Jaffee Pops is another one that stands out. It's such a fun twist. So, how do customers usually serve them? Are there any funny stories you've gotten? Any funny feedback?
Well, the interesting with that is we didn't anticipate the different uses for it. It was just initially kind of intended as an easy way to package it up and hand it off if someone didn't want a full jar. But then I realized, well, these are basically just like push pops. Like if anyone remembers Otter Pops, that's what they kind of turned into. And so little freezy pops. And so that was our idea behind it, was to have a bone broth popsicle. We live in South Florida. You're in Arizona, so you get it. On hot days, it's nice to have that cool enrichment treat, and it takes time because they have to lick on or chew on it. I'm sure some of the lab and retriever owners are like, takes time. What are you talking about? My dog will just gobble it down. But for all the other dogs, it takes some time to kind of lick or chew on the ice, and they can close it up, put it back in for later. But then once we started being carried by retail stores, the other huge side of that was trial sizes. So if someone is new to bone broth, it's a nice intro. You can just take a small little pack home and give that a try for a meal or two. Or if you have a small dog, what what I get a lot of small dog customers telling me they do is they'll buy some of the pops and they can leave, and that way they can get kind of a variety of it, and they get different flavors and leave some in the freezer and pull them out, every couple days or so and let those thaw and use those as the topper.
That makes sense.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, especially, I could imagine if I only had, like, we have a multitude of sizes of dogs from 5 pounds up to, German
60,
Shepherd, which is
yeah.
65. So I can imagine if I only had a 5-pound dog, that'd be a great idea to just get like 1 or 2 of those different variety
meats.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other product, well, you have 2 other ones. You got the BioBroth Complete, which is something that you guys launched recently. So it's a powdered version with added probiotics and mushrooms, correct?
Yeah, you got it. And both of our powder products are kind of that's been brewing in my head for a long time. Those are really the ones I'm really excited about. The kind of like my idea babies that I'm so thrilled to have out there in the world. Is the BioBroth is our mix of the grass-fed beef bone broth powder plus probiotics from multiple categories. And this is something that I think isn't always talked about, is the exposure to different categories of probiotics. So for those nerds out there that are into probiotics, if you look on the label, most of them you'll see like lactobacillus blah blah blah, or bifidobacterium blah blah blah. So that's one category, is your lacto-bifido blend. Then you have your beneficial yeast, which is Saccharomyces boulardii, and then soil-based probiotics. So all those 3 categories, what I would do with my human clients was triple therapy, include some from all those categories. And so I wanted to have some element of that with our pet product. And so we have 2 out of 3 categories in our BioBroth, our lacto-bifido blend and the Saccharomyces boulardii, which is the beneficial yeast. Plus the lacto-bifido blends are species specific. So they are from wolf ancestors and unvaccinated healthy dogs, and that's where they derive those patented strains from.
Really?
So not only are they just nice probiotics to have, they have an even more targeted effect towards dogs. Totally fine for cats too, if anyone was wondering, but that peg kind of fits that hole even better because they are species specific. And then adding that extra category as well, that Saccharomyces boulardii helps on other levels. So getting the combination of categories helps things work faster and more effectively. And then the medicinal or nutritional mushrooms, which are organic from fruiting bodies only, which is what the studies have been, most of the studies are from, having the most powerful, potent effect. With a blend of mushrooms, again, those of you that are familiar with your mushroom strains, we've got turkey tail, lion's mane, reishi, and shiitake. So it's really like three products in one, because they're all effective doses of each. And that's
awesome.
That's what we've been seeing. We do a lot of fostering, and I think we talked about this in Vegas. We had our little sheet of our fosters that we take in. Down in South Florida, the shelter situation is pretty bad, and there's a lot of dogs on the euthanasia list that shouldn't be there. So we'll pull dogs off the euthanasia list because they have skin issues or allergies, and take them home, put them on BioBroth, combine with some better nutrition choices, and fix them up and get them adopted. So we're really proud to have that product to help them with that.
Yeah. Wow.
And then the BioStride.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should I talk about the BioStride?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Please. It's an incredible.
I don't want to turn this into like
some
just
collagen peptides. I want to hear about.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully it's informative too, because even if they're not buying from us, exposing people to bone broth, to probiotics, to mushrooms, go for it wherever maybe not wherever you get them from, but from good quality brands. It's so important to, again, fill nutrient gaps, just to provide daily maintenance or to overcome things. But our BioStride is another one that we keep getting really, for me, I get almost emotional when the the pet parents report back. I was talking to one of our ambassadors at an event this weekend whose dog is going in for his second knee surgery this week. But the recovery from the first one, they said once they started the BioStride, his mobility improved, his mood improved, his just ease of getting around and all that stuff, it just was noticeably better. That's that combination of, it's kind of a dual action. We have our bioactive collagen peptides that help with cartilage repair and maintenance in dogs, plus anti-inflammatory, antioxidant nutraceuticals like curcumin, quercetin, and glutathione that help reduce the inflammation, reduce the pain, and help set the stage for that healing and recovery to happen, as well as reduce wear and tear for those active dogs so that down the road they won't develop arthritis. So yeah, that's why our two powders, there's a lot to them, and so thrilled to have them available and seeing the help that they're providing for the dogs and cats.
Yeah, man. And you can feel like the passion that you have and like the love that you have for these products. You know, I can feel it across the internet, honestly. So it's really beautiful to see, and like the fact that you get emotional about it, I can tell you like that those emotions that they don't pay the bills, but they've kind of got us through on certain days, you know. So.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Like that's when especially like both of us are growing small businesses and we have those tough times, and then just that one, piece of feedback or testimonial or report that it's been helping like that. Yeah, it fuels that drive to keep going.
It sure
That's
does.
awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, as the resident cat daddy here, so like your products, I mean, obviously the bone broth, we've been giving it to our cats and they love it. So all your products are safe for cats too?
Totally. Yep. 100% safe for cats as well. Even though the probiotics are technically species specific for dogs, totally safe and still effective for cats as well. And because there's no additives or preservatives or salt in anything in any of our products, there's no contraindications. There's no there's issues with fitting into the diet or anything like that. Everything's also virtually fat-free, so even dogs with pancreatitis and that are watching the fat content, almost everything is good to go there too. So that was another goal, was to make it not only as clean as possible, but as universal as possible as well.
It's yet another thing that we share in common. You know, it's such a cool thing. And obviously you're on a clear mission to like educate, right? So I can tell that you like to teach people these things, which is another thing that we like to do as well. So what would you say are like your core messages you'd like to try to share and talk with pet parents?
You're right. It's a good thing that I enjoy the education part, because our products require some education. As you can see, there's different layers to it. There's some novelty to it, and there's some little differences from what's out there already. So I do a lot of the education at events and to stores, so that their staff knows how to talk about it, and to our audience. But some of the important elements, some of the key takeaways are, like I mentioned before, filling nutrient gaps. We would love to say that just food alone is going to cover all of the needs. And if you're feeding fresh or raw, it probably covers a lot, but chances are it might not be 100% of everything. And that's why, all these things are essentially supplements, whether it's we can call it a meal topper, but it's a supplement, and they are supplemental to a healthy diet and lifestyle. We can't forget the lifestyle part of it too. Yeah. Still have to be living, mental and physically healthy lives. And so they are adding those missing pieces. The way I like to phrase it is the supplements are there for the 2 O's, to overcome or to optimize. So if you have a pet that is in need of some support, if there's an illness or disease or a symptom and you need to overcome that, let's add some extra of these things to make that happen, or just to optimize. Maybe they're doing fine what they're doing, but is there another level? Could they be even better? And we can optimize their living and their health and add some years on. And so these things help do that because, again, chances are not all the stuff is included in just the food alone. So that'd probably be the main takeaway is, use as needed to hit those two O's. You're going to overcome or optimize.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you just taught us something. I'm gonna steal that too. I like that. The two I've never heard that one before, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
And that's because obviously that's the nutrient gaps is a really, that's just a huge thing, because even in our own health, our own diet, like we're not eating the same steak and apples that our great grandparents did. So like it's diluted, or it's just not the same nutrient profile as it once was. So supplemental is kind of where we're at. You have to supplement, your diet in some way to make sure that you're optimized or overcoming, like you said.
Yeah, you nailed it. Especially that point about the food that we're eating and our pets are eating today is not like the food that was available even just a few decades ago. And so we know soil quality and the agricultural industry is just not keeping the pace up. And so we are certainly not living, as I mentioned early on our, sort of how I approach things from an ancestral framework, and that applies to the dogs too. We're certainly not, we're living in a very manufactured world right now. We're under some lights and in front of electricity and living a pretty stressful life. And the dogs too, we've taken them out of their natural habitat, and sort of force them into this structure that we created for them: when they're going to eat, when they're going to walk, where they're going to walk, how they're going to behave, what they can smell, what they can't smell, what they can explore, what they can't explore. And so the more that we can, we're never going to be able to recreate that 100%, but the more that we can provide as much of that living environment, that snout to tail feeding in some elements, in some regards, they're no longer eating things out of the dirt. So how can we sort of mimic that the best we can and provide access and exposure to different things? So, as you mentioned, as you said very well, that supplements are almost essential at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely that way. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is that you give a lot of your time to shelters, adoption groups. Definitely wanted to highlight that because you give a lot, back to the community. Why has that outreach always been like a super core part of what you like to do?
Awesome question. And before I start, I have to give the absolute most credit to my girlfriend and partner, Erin, who was really the one that opened my eyes and exposed me to the world of rescue. Now, yes, all of my dogs were rescues from shelters. But Erin is extremely active in that world, doing everything from coordinating dogs to get picked up to transporting dogs across the state. And so just want to give her a huge shout out for all that she does in the whole rescue world down here in South Florida. And so, we've really incorporated that as one of our core values with the business, because as we do mention, part of our proceeds, a percentage of the proceeds go towards shelters and rescues and fosters. We do a lot to support the foster parents. If they take in a foster, we want to help them get those dogs adopted, and everyone's giving, and we have always wanted to make that a part of our mission too. And so if the more we can do to support that world, to help dogs get off the street into secure areas, to get out of poor shelter situations and environments and into foster homes or into a better, more well taken care of shelter, getting the dogs into better and better situations, and then into homes, and getting them healthy is a big part of that. As I mentioned, sometimes they're on the euthanasia list for a very easily fixed health condition. So it just made sense. Our focus on natural health just ties into how can we give back, how can we support what's going on out there. It's a drop in the bucket or a drop in the ocean, whatever the expression is. But but again, it's that reward, like we talked about before, that keeps, when we see what we've been able to give back, help, let's say, a dog get from a shelter to a foster family, foster home, to their forever family, then we know that what we're doing is making a change and making a difference.
Yeah, no, and I don't think that's small at all, man. I think that puts out a larger ripple into the world than we realize. So
and I think you're taking it up even a notch higher than, because you're going into the nutrient part of things too, and that goes hand in hand when you're getting them adopted. I've worked in a lot of rescues, and it's as a volunteer, and half the time they're so struggling because they're lacking nutrients and they're hungry or they're feeling itchy and stuff. So you also have such a great product to help bring to the table and help these fur families understand too, like, oh, I need to feed them good, because some of the people that are adopting the dogs don't know what to feed. And I'm sure with your transition and your broth and everything, that helps start a good path for them, and that's just huge. So thank you for that, on multiple levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Because how many dogs do you guys have?
we have 3 dogs and a cat, but we also are taking care of my mom's German Shepherd and her cat too right now. So.
Yeah, and so you know what it's like to bringing new dogs in, and Eden, like you mentioned, sometimes either even a foster family or the new adopter might not always know the best way to handle a dog that has some health conditions, but certainly improving their skin and their health just makes them so much more adoptable. So it's that extra step that we can do to help. They need to be the fosters can do what they can on social media and that kind of stuff. But if we can help provide the nutritional side so that they are more easily adopted, then that's what we're going to do.
That's awesome. I could just feel the kindness, and when you even to touch on the fact that it's not small, like love amplifies, right? It multiplies and amplifies. So when you're able to provide that even to one animal at a time, in a foster situation, that's like saving 3 lives, because the E-list, it shouldn't exist. But when you take a dog out of a shelter, that frees up room for another dog to come in off of the list, etc. So good for you, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Kind of transitioning from that, like what has this journey taught you on a personal level? Because you can feel that you obviously have a lot of love to give. So
patience. As anyone that is a parent, let alone a parent of multiple kids, we have 5 dogs in the house right now. Don't tell our landlord that. But from a dog parent side, as we've fostered more and more throughout over the years, and from a small business owner side, man, there are more. It always feels like there's more hurdles than wins sometimes, and so the only thing you can do is really know that you just got to breathe through it and keep plugging along. It sounds cheesy, but that really is true. But yeah, patience, because this is a journey that I had no idea that I was going to start, and is a side of running a business that I had 0 experience with. So everything's been kind of learning in real time, and there's nothing else to do but just keep grinding. So definitely have been learning new levels of patience, and
good for you, man.
Yeah,
I think that like celebrating those small wins, that's a huge one too. Like taking the moment to really take it in is huge, because it's just coming all so fast. And another thing that I believe is, like, we didn't set out to do this either. We didn't set out to be in the pet industry, honestly. It just like kind of grabbed us and pulled us in, and I think that means it's a calling more than it is a passion,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's your big takeaway so far from this whole journey?
I think that honestly, that one I just said, like celebrating the small victories, like just really is probably the big one because, in this society that we live in, especially in America, is just that hustle mentality. You got to grind, you got to work hard, you got to burn out, and it's like burnout even is glorified, and it's just like, oh, if you haven't burnt out, you haven't really done it, and it's like, well, we've unfortunately we've gone through the burnout and just like physically just got knocked down and just have to be resilient. But the big thing is just breathing and being present and just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Celebrating
Yeah.
the small victories for sure, because it's like when you get those compliments or those, pictures of somebody's dog looking so much better in like, just a few weeks of getting on better nutrition and thanking us, it's like, oh, it doesn't even feel like we did anything. I just feel like it came naturally, to be able to be there for them. And those little things do help us go a long way, because it feels kind of lonely sometimes in this world when we're going against the masses, if you want to say. But it's awesome. I would never choose any other route to be down right now. So, the more the merrier. The more people we meet like you, this is like just such a huge highlight to hear your journey and be able to offer your products and give more, because I feel like it's just a great circle at that point,
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
which are foods.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and I think we both are aligned that the more that we can.
Sorry, 1 second. We might have to like pause it for a second, or we can just show
okay.
this organic part of owning a pet store that's opening up next
exactly.
week. We're getting our delivery right now, and they showed up
There you go.
10 minutes
Hi.
early. That's
Sorry,
okay.
we're not-
This is real. This is real life, baby.
This is authentic
just
right
drop
here.
it
Yeah,
on
we're
the
getting,
side
the,
if you
getting
want.
the
I can bring
delivery.
it
We're
in.
opening up the doors
Thank you
next
so much.
Tuesday,
Was there
so
more? Is that
less
it?
than a week away. The thing that I don't think is a small thing that I wanted to ask you about, because it was a big victory for you, coming grassroots like you have, the whole story that you're talking about, to win dog broth. You won dog bone broth of the year, and you won natural supplement of the year, natural dog supplement of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. The bone broth was for the broth, and then our bio broth complete won the natural dog supplement of the year.
That's just such a cool thing, man. I'm sure that was like a big like coming to moment for you. So, how did you take all that in for yourself and for the company?
It's again, it's unexpected, but it's funny. At the same time, you're like, well, I mean, I kind of feel like I deserve it. I'm sure, I'm sure a lot of companies that make good products, they should feel the same way. I mean, you guys make products, and I think they're arriving either today or tomorrow, and I can't wait to try them with our dogs. And I'm sure the ones that you formulate, you're like, well, yeah, I put this together for a reason, and I do feel like it deserves an award. And so there's a little bit of that,
Yeah.
but as always, it's what's nicer about it is that the more recognition of any kind, the more it can get out there. And yes, growing the business is important, but the exposure so that more dog parents can find out about it, so they can start using it, because obviously there is an endless world of dogs that have health issues or that need help. And so that the more we can get this stuff out there to get them the help they need, the better. And so if that comes in the form of winning an award so I can brag about it, okay, so that they can discover us, then that's really what means more to me.
Yeah, good for you, man. I mean, it really is. You should definitely give yourself a round of applause. That's really an awesome thing. And, in this world, again, these little things that you got to do to gamify or play the game is, the social proof thing. And that's what you need, and so congratulations on that. With that, it's just such an awesome thing that like we're starting to really gain momentum in this field. That truly is like a drop in the ocean, but it's starting to go that way. It's starting to form a wave. And so like, where do you think that pet nutrition and health is heading in the next couple of years?
Yeah, you nailed it. While it does feel like it's early you can see the waves forming. You can see the traction gaining, and in my experience, the pet world seems like it's about, I don't know, 5 to 10 years behind the human world. So all these trends, some better, some worse, but the sort of the natural or holistic trends from the human world I've seen now starting to trickle and then become mainstream in the pet world, because I was doing them 15, 20 years ago. And so whether it's a trend like bone broth, which trend has a negative connotation, but obviously it's a good trend that's happening, or other more fad type things, or ingredients like we talked about before the call about a particular ingredient that is very early on starting to gain some use in some products that we're trying to create a product around. These things will eventually become more mainstream, and that's mostly good news. You know, it's kind of exciting to be the one that's the trailblazer, and like you've been using some ingredients and some nutrients in some of your products that I don't know that anyone else is really using. So it's kind of exciting to be the new thing that's gonna arrive on the scene. But again, for the sake of the dog's health and wellness, I see the natural trend moving in the right direction. We can see it in what's happening with big kibble companies. The big kibble food companies are now starting to offer fresh versions of their food because they're losing market share to the natural food world, and they're having to quickly pivot. And so, you know, this stuff on the human side of things has been around for long enough where I think the trend in the pet world is going to happen even faster, because I think people are also willing to spend more money and energy on their pets' wellness than they will on themselves. And so they're going to start to adopt these things more and more and start to use more natural, fresh foods, hopefully even more raw foods. They're going to probably, either out of choice or out of not needing to, steer away from conventional medicine and use more natural therapies. And I see it really moving in a great direction. I think it's going to happen even faster than it had been earlier on. So there's definitely good things ahead, and that's also why I think both of us enjoy the education part, is because we want to, while this is happening, we also want to steer our audience and our customers in the right direction, because there's going to eventually be copycats that are doing it on a subpar level, or people wanting to cash in on the hype of a more natural approach, but not really doing it the right way. And so it's now our job to keep continuing to provide this information so that we can kind of keep them on the right path. But overall, I mean, anything in that direction is a positive thing. So I think that's what's going to happen, hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years or so.
Yeah, good for you, man. I mean, and like building the trust, as part of that trailblazer thing, is like we get to kind of be out here grinding, like you were saying, but building trust. And so when the copycats come along, they'll be kind of most likely falling to the wayside, because that ties back into what we first started talking about, was your sourcing. When we do sourcing, the ingredients, the high quality of it, you can be a copycat all day long, but when it comes down to it, there's only one real deal. So, and you guys, what you're doing is the real deal, man, for sure. Although we were talking, just like joking around, I think that you should maybe change your name to Jaffee.
Yeah. Like we're talking to
my
Jaffee today, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's your bone broth, man. I mean, I know you made it for the dogs, but it's yours.
I know it's funny because there are either stores or people that I connect with, and they think that my name is Jaffee, so they'll send an email address to Jaffee, or on a call they don't know, they don't know what to call me, but I could not name the company after my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it. That makes sense, and it's a good name. I've never actually met a dog named Jaffee,
No, it's
so
good.
That's a good quality name, man.
Yeah, and there's a whole obviously, like everyone's dog's name has a story, but there's a story behind it.
I want to hear the story. We got some time. I want to hear
story.
the story of Jaffee, because I was going to ask, is there something symbolic, like is there some Greek meaning or something?
Well, so there is actually coincidentally there is a language meaning that I didn't even find out about until after I had already named her. So the less interesting side of the story is she was named after a TV character that was from one of my favorite shows. And Jaffee is typically a last name, but I just added an E and made it her first name. And then after I'd already done that, I found out that Jaffee in Hebrew means beautiful. And so it totally fits. It totally fits, and so it just was serendipitous.
That's great. I like that. I'm
That's
glad you
cool.
shared that. That's a good little story. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty sure everybody out there, when they get down to it, we just need to have more affection for all, but mainly it starts with our pets at home. You just start there, and then that'll grow. So I love that. I got to ask, it's like our signature question that we always say. It's like, so what's one thing that you wish every pet parent out there understood about their pet's health?
That is a question. I guess the easiest one answer to that would be that health is holistic, and that we've been talking a lot about nutrition, and that obviously plays a huge role, and that's an entire world of layers there. But to truly have a optimally healthy pet, that does involve the other things that we talked about in our conversation as well, which is their lifestyle, their behavior. They're always telling you, they're showing you what's going on in their head. They can't speak English, but they're expressing what's going on and how they're feeling. And so being able to provide the entire living environment as best as we can to provide all those elements of what's going to make them a healthy living being, that's what's going to give them the best quality of life. And even down to, again, one other quick shout out to another industry friend and mentor of mine who has created a platter that more optimally fits the feeding, like how the dogs eat. So we've talked a lot about what they eat, and this platter provides an optimum way for in terms of how they eat and their mealtime. So even little things like that, down to how they're eating their food, their inside, outside, their entire living experience. So yeah, that was my very long-winded explanation of why I guess the one thing would be that, yes, nutrition and food is a huge part of keeping them healthy and preventing illness and disease. But to really provide the best quality of life for them, it's everything. And are they not just being physically active, but are they getting the brain work that they need and the stimulation there to keep them satisfied and enriched?
That makes so much sense. And when you think about just like the mind, body, and the spirit, right? It's all connected. Same thing with us, same thing with our pets. So that makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to ingredients too, even every single ingredient, even if it's a good ingredient, it can also has an effect holistically on the whole body, right? So we just have to think of everything.
Yeah. And they are always talking to us. We just have to listen in different ways.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I just want to thank you for sharing your time and your story. Nellie's healing and the edible bones, the bones, your boost products, the bio broth, bio complete, and your rescue work. Just like so many things we covered here, you're a busy guy. I wanted to ask you, tell our listeners where to find you, and if you have any online places to get your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
our
Thanks. Yeah. Order from Pure Pawsitivity, especially if you're in the Arizona area. And so you can find us. Our biggest presence is on Instagram. Our handle is Jaffee Pops. It'll actually be soon changing to Jaffee's Bone Broth. So depending on when you're listening or watching this, it'll either be Jaffee Pops or Jaffee's Bone Broth. But you can find us on Instagram. And our website as well. We do ship everywhere in the country, even our frozen stuff. As you mentioned, we hand cut the foam so we can ship stuff frozen to you. And yeah, definitely find us in your local store. So that's a great way to support two small businesses at once. We're getting near 100 stores around the country, continuing to grow. So it's your local independent pet specialty store if we're there. But otherwise, yeah, our website and Instagram, and we are happy to answer any questions you guys have. So we love feedback, and we love educating. So if you have questions about your dog with any symptom or issues going on, you can reach out to us again through Instagram or the website, and we're happy to help.
That's awesome. And I believe him wholeheartedly when he says that. You could feel the transparency and everything that he has. So ask any questions you want.
100%.
Yeah. We do have.
This has
and
just been an awesome talk.
One more thing I'll add is I have an ebook that's been sitting on my computer, waiting to launch for a while, all about fixing allergies and other common dog symptoms. So if you are dealing with that, if your dog is dealing with chronic, again, allergies, licking paws, itchy ears, skin issues, upset tummy, any of that kind of stuff, I have an ebook for you, free download. So you can reach out through either of the site or Instagram if you want a copy of that.
Right on, man. That's
Sweet.
really cool.
Yeah, we'll have to put the link probably in the description if I can get that link.
Yeah.
Put that there.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. We could do that. We could be like, boom, here's the link. Cool, man. Well, this has been a really awesome talk. I'm sure we could probably talk all day about this stuff. Just wanted to tell you guys, keep doing your thing out there. We're so grateful for you guys to listen and for you to check in, and I'm grateful for our guest today. Every healing story begins the same way, with someone who decides to care more deeply, as I have to clear my throat. But Elliott reminded us that feeding our pets is not just about nutrition. Yeah, I'm getting all verklempt here. It's not just about nutrition, it's connection, it's trust, it's presence as well. To explore more, visit jaffeesbonebroth.com or follow him at Jaffee Pops. That's changing soon, right? So, but right now it's at Jaffee Pops. So yeah, but until next time, keep feeding with intention, keep loving without limits, and keep climbing towards Pawsitivity Peak. Thanks again, Jeff, or Elliott.
See, you did it.
I always called you Jaffee. I know, it happens, man. But we'll see you.